YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. If you need more proof that the news is 100% a simulation, well, here's more proof for you. We now have what is being called Maskgate. And again, they've been doing this for years. They've been getting away with this for years. But the problem that the majority of people have is that they don't understand why. They don't understand why would they make up the news? Why would they script the news? Why would they simulate the news? Well, it's real simple. If you think about kings and you think about dictators of the past and controlling the people, whether it's fluoride in the water that we heard about many years ago, which still occurs to this day, or Julius Caesar, or what we've been told about Hitler, all this stuff, which we don't even know if it's true or not, because we've only been told this information by the same type of psychopaths who want to control the minds of the masses and keep them under full-on totalitarian rule, which is what we have going on today, under the illusion, of course, that your vote counts, that this isn't a monarchy at all in America, that you, the people, have say. That's the illusion that we live under, which, again, shows you why they want to 100% manipulate the news, because they want you to think that you're making these decisions, that you're not being manipulated, that there aren't people who were never elected in the first place who are ruling over you, because they don't want any type of an uprising actually occurring where the people take back and take control of their government. The news is a simulation. They blur the lines of what's real and what's not. They get you to believe that all these events are occurring. They tell you it over and over and over again, because that's the key to mind control, repetition. Telling you what's happening over in Iran, day in and day out, for the people who watch Fox News. And then they go and they repeat the same exact thing to their friends. And then they all believe, oh, well, what's going on over there is they have weapons of mass destruction. They have nuclear weapons. They have this, they have that. That's why we're not going to peace with the Iran. That's why we need to be at war. That's why we need to stop the oil. All this stuff that they don't understand what's really going on with Agenda 2030 and why they're forcing oil prices up, and they're manipulating people into switching over to electric vehicles, or forcing people to go broke without telling you they're forcing you to go broke by making everything so expensive that you don't even realize that you're going broke until you realize you have no money left in your bank account, while quietly keeping you distracted with things like the left-right paradigm, which is really their ultimate mechanism of control in America. So they put these characters on the news like the guy you're about to see here. He goes on the news day in and day out. Right, he works for he's a retired Navy SEAL. He goes on Fox News every single day. They tell you he's not an employee of Fox News. He's just a retired Navy SEAL going on Fox News because he cares so much about getting information out that every day he's showing up in the news. Of course, the people who see him over and over again start looking at him as a trusted resource for information for the right wing, just like the same thing happens with the Democrats who watch their fake news, whether it's CNN, NBC, ABC, and then they get their talking heads who they trust in. These are characters. They manipulate you into believing that the events that are happening in the world are actually happening, number one, and number two, are happening the way that they say, without you ever having to see these things through your own eyes. This is Mind Control 101. And what occurred is this guy went on the news, again, as he does almost every day on Fox News, and people started to see something going on with his neck, something that people like me have been exposing for years, that they wear masks. And people go, I don't understand. Why would they wear a mask? Well, this is your trusted character. What if your trusted character just died? What if your trusted character couldn't be in 10 places at once? Because these people can't be in 10 places at once. You think Donald Trump is showing up in China, and then he's showing up on a golf course in Florida 2 days later? Like Joe Biden, we can't even see him walk up the stairs, not down, up the stairs of an airplane, of Air Force One, without tripping. And then you think that he's actually going to Switzerland, then he's going to China, then he's showing up here, he's showing up there at 90 years old. I mean, some of us are in our 50s and 60s here. Some of you in your 40s and 30s there. You don't even have the energy to go on a flight to Australia without having jet lag for days. But these people show up here, they show up there. Then you're supposed to believe that they're in all these places at once. And they need these trusted characters to constantly be shown on television. They put a different character on TV, and you don't know who it is. You're likely to either turn it off or not to believe the character. But because he's got the built-up credibility in your mind of being a Navy SEAL, they have to roll these characters out to continually tell you why, especially when people are starting to question the narrative of what's going on in Iran, that, oh, well, this guy's telling you on the news of why we need to be at war with Iran. But of course, we're not really at war with anybody. The only thing that's going on are governments are waging war and committing genocide against civilians. But they want you to believe that there's militaries, men lined up against each other in a field shooting, missiles at each other and bullets at each other when what they're doing is committing genocide, and the people should be rising up together against totalitarian government rule instead of being divided over, well, I support Iran, I support Israel, right? When those governments know exactly what's going on, and all you're seeing is really the governments working together, again, not only to commit genocide on the people, but to change the structure of land, right? We know that Israel's expanding into the greater Israel, which means that they need to acquire Gaza and acquire the land over there to build out this new, greater, smart Israel that they're planning on building out. So this guy went on the news. Okay, you could see his neck right there. This is the common mask that we see all the time. Now, this might actually lead to them using more AI than actually using masks in the future, because the majority of people can't tell the difference with AI. And they certainly, are starting to catch on with the mask because this has gone viral. It was trending online, which means, oopsie daisy, now they need to come in and do damage control and say, you're a conspiracy theorist if you say somebody on the news is wearing masks. And of course, the conservatives will defend this guy because they like this guy. So all the conservatives who say that, oh, Joe Biden's wearing a mask all these years will not believe that this guy's wearing a mask or that Melania Trump's been wearing a mask. They'll just say that Joe Biden was wearing a mask and that Joe Biden's not a real person, that Joe Biden's been dead for all these years, because they, again, are stuck in the hive mind of the Democrat and Republican parties, which really are just two communist parties acting the same, where these people are loyal to the party without using any critical thinking at all, as long as it pertains to their party. Their party can do no wrong. So because of the pushback, because remember, again, the internet acts as a brain in a sense. People upload their thoughts onto the internet. It's like the government literally being in your mind. That's why DARPA created the internet, for lots of reasons, not just getting you addicted to it, not just because eventually they're going to have this stuff inside of your body, but also because they use it to see what you're thinking. Because think about how much stuff people post online. They don't just post things that make them laugh. When somebody has a bad day, they post the whole thing on their Facebook account, right? We've all seen these people who are mainly narcissists, but we see people, even good people from time to time, who have been conditioned into this. When something's wrong or something's going on, they want to tell everybody. They make an announcement, right? Oh, I don't post often on Facebook, but my grandbaby was born today, and they tell you exactly what's going on in their personal life, and then they tell you how they feel about certain things going on politically. This is how they gauge the population. They did it with COVID. They saw how much pushback came with the vaccine. That's why they pivoted from COVID for the digital ID and moved, of course, over to the other stuff with immigration and voting fraud and all this stuff that these suckers believe, because they actually believe their vote counts, which is insane at this point. But they probably will go with AI going forward because so many people noticed this guy's mask that it started trending all over the place. People make TikTok videos. Now, as we all know, many of the people who used to spit truth all over the internet, who have been suppressed like myself, have obviously been replaced with more dumbed down versions of conspiracy theories where they just put up 10-second TikTok videos where it does, they show you the guy with the neck like you're about to see here, but they don't go into detail about the CIA and how they've been doing this forever, how they've used predictive programming like Mission Impossible to make you think that this is just a conspiracy when you hear it, because they do a 30-second video without explaining to you why and how and why these characters are needed, right? So this is all over the place. People have picked up on it. So now we're seeing the government put out media pieces about it. It's a crazy conspiracy theory. You're a nut if you believe that they wear masks. They all wear masks. Remember, these are characters who are playing roles, convincing you of a false reality. They're doing it over and over and over again. These are trusted characters that they use. So sometimes they'll use guys and put masks on them. Sometimes these people won't even be alive anymore. Sometimes they won't even exist in the first place. And you would never know, but you would think they did, because they showed up on your TV every day, like guys like Charlie Kirk, right? Everybody's heartbroken. They never knew Charlie Kirk, never met Charlie Kirk. They love Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's a member of their family. Why? Because they watched him on the television. Or should I say the television? Oh, excuse me. They watched him on the internet because they don't believe that the television, the internet, they say, and they go, I don't have a TV anymore. Oh, but you watch everything on your phone and on the internet. Same difference. You don't know these people. You don't know if they exist, okay? And you can sit here and you go, well, I don't know if you exist. Well, you don't know if I exist. All you can do is use your best discernment, and you should always use discernment. I don't have an issue if people go, well, how do we know you're not this? How do we know you're not that? You don't. All I can do is give you my word. All you can do is look at the work that I've put out, and then you can decide for yourself. But there's many people who don't believe, oh, he doesn't show his face. Then don't believe it. It doesn't matter to me. I don't gain anything from it. I'm not famous. I'm not gaining income or anything from doing this. This is not monetized like it used to be. This is obviously only as ads in any of these videos that are put in by YouTube themselves. But you shouldn't believe anything that's really out there without using discernment. And that's the number one thing most of these mind control sheeple will do. And of course, we have the same sheeple in the comments sometimes that say, why would you use the word sheeple if Jesus talks about his people as sheep? Well, a sheeple is a person who has the mind capacity of a sheep, because sheep can be easily herded, right? It's nothing to do biblically, but of course, these people have to tie everything in to whatever hurts their feelings. Everything's sensitive. Everyone's all emotional about every little thing. Oh, you can't say sheeple because Jesus talks about his people being sheep, so now you're disrespecting Jesus. This is what we deal with on a day-in, day-out basis. It's not even worth covering any of these topics anymore because people are so sensitive and so soft and so just caught up in their own world, just like we see with Christians constantly infighting. Oh, you believe in this version of the Bible. You believe in this. This means we had a rapture. We didn't have a rapture. You're not a real Christian because you believe that or this. Isn't it really about just believing in Jesus Christ, right? Oh, but we can't go that route in 2026. So we have a world of unhinged maniacs, and I'm going off on a bit of a rant here, but you have to remember, why does the government put these people on TV? There's a difference between people like me who are putting up videos getting 20,000 views on YouTube versus the majority of people who are watching the television, who are watching Fox News, who are conservative, who are getting fed this information about Iran, making sure that they stay on board with everything pro-Israel. Because, of course, if you ever find out who Israel really is and the state of Israel and the war machine that Israel is and September 11th and everything else, well, you'll wake up to the reality and then this will all end really quick, just like it has in the past, because these people have constantly been found out. They found out who they were. They've had to leave where they've been. They've had to leave countries because of the stuff they've done. And of course, now the Great American Experiment, which is long underway. They have full control over the minds of Americans. And now they're really working on having full control over the minds, of course, of Christians. So here's the guy. Let's go into this now. Robert Harward. Okay, you can see him here on the left and the right. On the left, you see his neck. You see the flap on his neck. Clearly, this is a mask that is being worn. Okay, can you see the gap between his throat and where the mask is? Here's a picture of him on the right, okay? Even in shadows, that's what his neck looks like in the shadows. Does it look the same? No, it doesn't. Now, as you'll see when I show you these masks in the video, you'll say, oh yeah, that definitely is a mask. But most people, when they think of masks, of course, have been trained to think that it's a mask like at Party City or Party Fair. It's not really realistic. It's just a mask you pull over your head because they don't understand government technology and how advanced it is. Just like when we talk about the government tricking you with AI, they go, well, they can't trick us with AI because it'll show us 6 fingers. It'll show us a glitch. The AI always shows us a glitch. That's the AI they show you, not the AI that they actually have. Their technology is so far advanced, it would blow your mind. So if you look at Robert Harward, of course, like I said, he's an ex-Navy SEAL. Direct connections to Lockheed Martin, of course. That means he has direct connections to DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which, of course, everybody should be aware of, but most people aren't. If you bring up DARPA to any of these people or anybody, anywhere you go, they go, I don't know what that is. And you say, well, it's a Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Their head just spins. They go, I don't know what that means. Sounds like a government agency. DARPA, of course, is responsible for all of it. Responsible for mind control. It's really where we go back to the origins of MK Ultra. Yes, we look at the CIA, but DARPA, of course, the founders of the internet. Right? What do you think? They created the internet because they wanted you to buy stuff on Amazon. They wanted you to connect with your family online, right? Yeah, they want you to connect, all right, because they plan on connecting you to the internet. So he's got connections to DARPA. He's got connections to CENTCOM, of course, which is the U.S. Central Command. But more importantly than all of these other things, what does he have a direct connection to? Well, he's got a direct connection to the Jewish Institute for National Security, because of course they all do. So he's a character who's going on Fox News. These are 2 things he's doing right now. Showing up on Fox News day in, day out. They'll tell you he's not an employee of Fox News. So he just gives you, think about it, okay? Think about it from that standpoint. These people constantly showing up on the news like this guy. They're not getting paid. So what's his goal to go on the news every day? Oh, his goal is he really wants to help people out. He cares about his country. Cares about Donald Trump, right? This is how warped-minded most people are. They believe that. They're like, yeah, he cares about his country. Trump cares about his country, cares about his country. They care about their country, so they do this out of the goodness of their heart for you, the people. Just like they all wanted to poison you like Donald Trump with Operation Warp Speed 5 years ago. He did it out of the goodness of his heart, right? When he told you he was going to speed things up, he was going to lock things down and then force you to get vaccinated and told you he was the father of the vaccine. How convenient that all these same people forgot about that, right? But Robert Harward is a direct connection, of course, to the Jewish Institute for National Security. And don't forget, okay, whether you believe this clip is real or not, because of course we can look at it and go, well, why would they put this on 60 Minutes when they had a Mossad agent in a ski mask talking about the world being their stage? Because they can do this. They do this because even by them doing this, it makes people roll their eyes and go, they're not staging world events. They know that people can't wrap their heads around the news being fake. They only believe the news is fake when the story doesn't fit their narrative. So in other words, conservatives question CNN stories that say Donald Trump did this, Donald Trump did that. They go, oh, that's fake news. But when it comes to a school shooting, when it comes to what's going on in war, they don't question it at all. They just take it as, oh, yeah, that really happened. The kids really got shot. Oh, then they spin the narrative. Oh, was the shooter a trans? Oh, no, the shooter was MAGA. Then the two point at one another. They go, oh, it's probably fake news. They're feeding in stuff about him being conservative, that he voted conservative, even though he's trans. And that's what they bicker over. So they can put stuff like this on 60 Minutes because they know you can't wrap your head around the notion of the news itself being fake and staged. But this clip sums it up perfectly about the Mossad and how the world is their stage and how they could do whatever they please and how they put actors here and actors there. And that's exactly what they do because the mind control is so deep they could tell you to your face, which is a part of spellcasting, that this entire thing that we see and perceive as reality is really just a simulation.
To buy this?
Obviously, they didn't know that they were buying it from Israel.
Who did they buy it from?
We have an incredible array of possibilities of creating foreign companies that have no way being traced back to Israel. We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
So again, simulation. People think when you hear the word simulation, like, what does it mean? It means that stuff in front of me isn't real. I can put my hand through it like it's a simulation. It means that the stuff you believe is happening in the world is staged. It's scripted. It's simulated. It blurs your eyes so you believe in lies. So the stuff that you think is going on is not going on. But you go and repeat it because mind control, the key to it is repetition. So you go out there, you repeat it. And that's why characters like this are so important because they repeat the lie over and over. And you think, oh, it's a trusted Navy SEAL, right? We know the patriotism mind control mechanism for MAGA and conservatives, right? They're all about patriotism, America first. This is what they've ingrained to people, God and country. These are all mind control tactics. God has nothing to do with America. Jesus Christ has nothing to do specifically with America. This isn't God's chosen country, okay? This is, if anything, it's Babylon. But they believe in all this stuff. So they love these characters who are all about the military, who are all serious, and then they give you information about a war that's not really occurring. And when I say a war is not occurring, it doesn't mean genocide's not occurring. It means what they're telling you as far as a war. And, oh, they're blocking Hormuz. Oh, they're doing this. This is all attacks on you. It's attacks on your wallet. It's all for Agenda 2030 to push you closer and closer to going electric, to us not having a power grid, taking down power grids. Everything that's in Agenda 2030 ties into what we're seeing going on, as I've covered many times, over in Iran. But don't forget about the mass genocide that Christians seem to be on board with. They're like, well, Muslims don't believe in God. Oh, so we should kill all these babies over there, drop bombs on people so we can move them out of land and then give the land over to Israel because they believe in their minds because of the 501c3 churches and, of course, because they're under such mind control that the state of Israel is the Israel mentioned in the Bible. They don't know about the establishment in 1948, that Balfour Declaration, all things I've covered on the website that you can go and see for yourself at callforunuprising.com if you want to learn about Israel, or you can research it yourself. Okay? It's not the same Israel. The biblical Israel is not modern day Israel. Point blank, as simple as that. Then if you believe it, then you're clueless. Okay? And if you take that as an insult, then you're a baby. Okay? We all had to wake up to this at some point. I didn't believe when I was 10, 15, there's a modern state of Israel, there's a biblical, because we just read the Bible, we took it literally, and which we should do, but we didn't actually understand, or I didn't when I was a kid, until I got older and older and older, and kept researching about the establishment of Israel, the Freemasons' hand in doing all that, Truman's hand in doing all that, right? What the point was, how these people are protected. And then, of course, how the book of Revelation ties it all up with a bow by telling us there are those who claim to be Jews that are not and are of the synagogue of Satan. But here's the clip. I've gone pretty long into the video. I know most people probably click off, but I don't care at this point. Okay? Here's the guy on the news talking about the war, how Trump's got it under control. These are all the tactics they need to do to get everybody on board. Because remember, they need you on board with the things that they're doing, because they cannot have an uprising or a revolution. There are so many more of us than there are of them. Remember, a lot of citizens are still armed. So they need to keep you in this hive mind of believing in the stuff that the right's doing and the left's doing, and these are the characters playing a role. But pay most attention not to what he's saying, to his neck, because you can clearly see it's a mask.
The general is exactly right about the point he makes. And also, Iran has a vote in this as well. They've reconfigured a number of things, I am certain. What do you think the next best move is today?
Well, I agree with the general completely, with one caveat. Patience may be little short of the real objective here. The president has time on his hands. He controls the narrative, he controls the strike capabilities, and he knows that the policy he set with the blockade has had short-term and long-term effects on the regime and the people of Iran. So he's been very astute in leveraging that time. And so I don't see it as negotiations. It really is capitulation. The president's made it very clear. You will not have a nuclear weapon. You will not have the material. Surrender that. And you will ensure that the Straits of Hormuz are open to free commerce, that you have no claims for surcharge or approving. Those two things are irreversibly, and the president knows he's in the position to demand those. So I think in that sense, he controls the narrative and when he would strike.
So again, you look at this guy's neck, okay? Now there's a good clip I'm going to use to show you here. This is May 18th and May 21. Two separate interviews that he did. I'll show you a clip here where you can hear the differences in his voice. You can see the differences in his face. One side's a lot smoother. And you can say, well, he's on Fox. They put makeup on him and put him in a makeup chair. Okay. Well, how about this? 5/18, he's wearing the same exact outfit as he's wearing on 5/21. He's wearing the same blazer. Is that gold or beige or gay? I don't know. But he's wearing that with the same shirt underneath. And you could see and hear the differences in his voice as well. Listen.
Involved, but again, their interests are at play here, but so are European interests, the rest of the Gulf nations, and so far, every time on his hands. He controls the narrative, he controls the strike capabilities, and he knows.
Right. And again, the whole notion of a mask, this is very difficult for anyone to wrap their heads around. Why? Well, let's start with things like Mission Impossible. Okay, this is what I always use is Mission Impossible because this is part of the mind control. Everyone's seeing Mission Impossible or at least knows of it, right? I have actually not seen any of the Mission Impossible movies, thank God. But we know Tom Cruise is in the Mission Impossible. We've seen the commercials at least millions of times. Okay, there used to be a TV show, Mission Impossible, so you've heard the term Mission Impossible. Well, one of the big narratives in there, right, he's a spy, is that they wear masks, right? And the recent ones that have come out over the last 20 years or so, we've constantly seen this, right? Tom Cruise taking off his mask, being somebody else, right? Philip Hoffman, Seymour Hoffman, whatever his name is, taking off his mask. Okay, this is called predictive program, but it's also a method of training your mind so that when you see this stuff on this big screen and you're like, I'm in a fictional movie, I'm watching a movie, this is fake, that's Tom Cruise, he was in Top Gun, so it's an actor, and they show you the stuff the government really has the ability to do, which is deceive people by wearing masks. This is what the CIA has been doing for a long time. But because you've seen it in a movie, when you hear someone like me say it, your mind just goes, oh, come on, it's like a movie, right? Just like we see you, I've said a million times with things like Terminator, right? Oh, this guy's talking like Skynet's real, right? It is. It's called Starlink. It's the same exact thing. If you watch my videos where you just research Starlink, it is Skynet. They're literally connecting everything to the internet. There's a reason that tractors now have to be Wi-Fi compliant. Because it's Skynet. It's all going to be controlled by the internet. But the people go, oh, that's just ridiculous. It's just to help the farmer out. The farmer needs to have his tractor connected to the Wi-Fi. Why? Your car needs to connect to the Wi-Fi. Why? Because you're addicted to Wi-Fi? Nobody even asks the question why. They just go, yeah, okay, well, it's just modern technology. It enhances the equipment. It's just another thing to sell, right? Clueless, these people trained into thinking that all this stuff that we're all talking about is fiction. You could see Skynet being built out. You could see what's going on, obviously, with humanoid robots, right? Right out of Terminator. Oh, but they're not shooting people in the streets. Yeah, not yet. First, you got to get you to accept it into reality and allow it in society and then write in laws and stuff to protect all these Tesla bots from you punting them in the head or running them over with cars and giving them rights as if they're humans and saying, well, if you run one over, you're going to jail, right? Then the next thing you know, eventually they go, oh my goodness, they've been hacked. They've been programmed against us. Mass genocide starts occurring, right? But you won't believe it till it's too late, of course. So the theory of mass has been around for a while, but they, again, get people to dismiss it. The most obvious, of course, is Joe Biden. Now, most Democrats won't believe this, but Republicans will, right? Republicans go, oh yeah, Biden's wearing a mask, right? Because it shows you, again, the left-right hive mind. It's so clear that this is not the same guy from 87, 2007 to 2019, okay? And you might go, well, he's aged. That's what happens when you age. You don't look like an entirely different person when you age. But if you don't want to believe that, all you got to do is look at the mask because you could see it in his neck and in his interviews. You could see discoloration, right? You could see some of the bottom left, right? The discoloration in his neck where the mask ends. It's the same as the clip of the guy you just saw on the news. Biden's worn mask. You think this guy is showing up in all these places? He could barely move. And most of us, as I'll show you in a minute, don't even believe it's a real person. We believe it's probably a Tesla bot wearing a mask. But you believe that these people at this age, the way that they speak, how incompetent they sound, are doing these things? Does anybody have a 90-year-old in their life or an 80-year-old? I'm sure you do. Could you imagine them running a country? You go, no, I couldn't imagine that. So what do you think? That these people are Trump's an old fart? Oh, yeah, he's playing golf every day. Then he's flying to China. These people are just, well, we know that they're feasting on adrenochrome. So we can look at it from that standpoint and go, yeah, well, they got a lot of energy. But they're literally not in all these places at once. They have stand-ins and they wear masks. It's not a secret, okay? You could see it even in the wrinkles on his neck. Remember when they had the 7-foot Biden that came out? That went viral when Joe Biden came out to speak and the guy was like dwarfing over everyone else when Joe Biden's just a regular height person. Right, look at it, he's a gigantic version of Joe Biden. Or like I said, the Tesla bot is one we should all look at because it walks the same as Joe Biden. I've used these clips over the years over and over to show people how it walks. And then you look at the guy, you see how he walks, and you believe that he's going all these places, right? And he's running a country. I mean, it's an utter joke. But look at the similarities, right? You don't think that they can have a mask on one of these Tesla bots and some gloves, and it could be playing a role?
He's playing. He's playing? Yeah. He's playing. He's trying too hard. He's playing.
I mean, it's almost identical how they walk. And you go, well, what do you mean? There's a robot playing the role. Well, you live in a technate, okay? Most people don't understand the technocracy, the United States of technate, really what it's becoming, why they're trying to merge Greenland, Canada, right? Again, I pointed out Mexico, right? We know that that's coming. And of course, Venezuela, right? Remember we went in there and took the president and we said, well, we'll take over Venezuela. How convenient that this old map of the technate of America has all those places that Donald Trump's talked about acquiring, like taking over Venezuela, which we've done, to eventually Greenland and Canada becoming a state. Oh, interesting, right? Meanwhile, all these guys are in charge of everything. What, you know, how we've lost free speech, right, online. They all go, the internet's here. We go in the, oh, but you can't say this there. You can't say that there. You could be monetized. You can't be monetized, right? It's a technate they're building out. Of course, we all know about Elon Musk and his grandfather, one of the founders. And of course, Elon Musk is one of the faces, specifically now for the Conservative Party, of building this out. And again, we go from Biden, we go to the guy that is, to Melania. The Melania body double conspiracy, which isn't a conspiracy because people caught on because look at this photo. The woman on the left is not the same person as the woman or the man, on the right? The thing we're told is a woman, Melania. We won't go into detail about that because we know most of these things are inverted. But does this look like the same person? What we're told is the female on the left versus the right? Completely different face, facial structure, all of it. It's not just because it's got glasses on, because here's a picture with the glasses off. That's not the same person, right? That was on a day where Trump was showing up, I believe, for Helene, one of the man-made hurricanes that they created to wipe out and ruin and destroy people's lives. Of course, we heard the story about lithium, but it's about more than that, getting people into FEMA camps, etc. Right? This was a day where Trump was there. Then he was in California later that day for another thing, fire, all this stuff, right? We're supposed to be this old guy Trump moving around like that, right? And they gave us this clip on Fox News where people go, wait a minute, that's not Melania Trump. Who's that chick? And they go, no, it's Melania Trump. And they go, what? Not even the same face, right? So then they had to come out and go, it's a conspiracy. People are saying that Donald Trump isn't really Trump because we've seen pictures of Trump where it looks like he's wearing a mask. We've seen, obviously, images of Melania, like I just showed you, where it looks like Melania isn't Melania, that it's a stand-in. And you go, that's a conspiracy. These people sound crazy. They're wearing masks. Well, if you think of it from the perspective, which is why I'm using that perspective, of these people being in so many places at once at such elderly ages, then you start to go, yeah, that does make a little bit of sense. Because you can't imagine grandpa, or imagine yourself, however old you are, doing all this stuff. Like I said, think about going on just going across to Europe, or wherever you might be now. Or go, I'm assuming America. So if you're in America, going to Europe, right? Or going to Greece. Or if you're in Europe, going to Australia, or America to Australia. How jet lagged you feel? You're like, oh my gosh, I got to stay in bed for the day. And even if you're up and you're young, you're still like, whoa, I feel in a daze, don't feel myself. But these people could do it. They're constantly on the move. They're wearing masks. They're characters. They're actors, right? Even the Illuminati card game with the unmasked card. And again, they showed us this, as we always see in predictive program with The Simpsons, right? The political leaders taking off their masks, of course, being reptilians. under their masks. And I'm going to show you some clips here. You can see how realistic these masks are. And you can even see, as you'll see in this headline, right, how the CIA used cutting-edge mask technology to blend in with Russian babushkas on secret mission. Okay, they show you this. They tell you, hey, in the 90s, we were doing this stuff with masks. So just imagine in 2026 how much further advanced this is. And of course, they don't reveal to you how further advanced it actually is with things like Tesla bots, et cetera, being used, right? Robotics being used. But watch these clips and look how easy and realistic these masks actually look. And then ask yourself, well, why, if the government has this technology, what were they using it for? Do you think they're using it because they're like, oh, we're sending over a guy in a mask. Okay, he's going to go through customs at the airport. He's going to land in Russia, and he's going to spy on Russia. And they can't track and monitor who these people are with technology or anything. They're using this stuff on you because this illusion of the people in power and these characters that go on TV who haven't even been elected or voted in the first place, that they're in control, that they're here, they're there. They need to keep you under their thumb because they need to do everything in their power to prevent an uprising, which is why it's so important to keep people trapped in the left-right hive mind. Because there's so many more people than there are them. And if you realize that this entire thing was a scheme, that these are all really pedophiles on the left and the right in power who weren't voted in, the people would rise up if they realized who they were. And they'd say, we're not allowing you in power anymore. We're not afraid because there's more of us than you. And of course, we know how important it is for them to recruit the military because the military, again, no offense to anybody out there who's in the military or has been in the military, the whole purpose of them brainwashing you into the military isn't just to sacrifice you and put you in these situations so that you can die. It's because they know if the people ever do figure this out and do rise up, that they could just call on the military. The military is there to protect them from you. That's what the military is there for, not to protect us from the boogeymen in Iran or other places, because anytime they want to blow up, let's say the Twin Towers, we know they do it themselves with the help of Israel or somebody else, okay? So the military is obviously in place to protect them from the people. In the military, you could be a guy in the military, I'd never go against an American civilian. Oh yeah? Sure. We already see it, right? With the mind control stuff with ICE and the left and the right, politically, oh yeah, we'll go after you. I'm a military guy. I'll go after a Democrat because they're not really American. They're not patriot like me, right? And the people ever found out what was going on and tried to rise up, the government would call on their own military, and they've been trained and mind controlled into protecting them because they would tell them, well, you got to protect your country. But the reality is they're just trying to protect themselves. So they're the wall that they've built up to protect themselves from the people. But the mind control is what's needed the most, and that's why we have all these characters. So here are some clips of masks being worn, proof of masks being worn, proof of the CIA telling you that they have these advanced masks, that it's not just Mission Impossible taking place.
It could keep you safe. It could keep you from getting shot. It could keep you alive. A mask could. People are amazed that there was a job title called Chief of Disguise. And most women I know wish they'd had that job. Sounded like fun. Actually, it was fun. I don't think another intelligence agency in the world devoted the time and the budget to disguise like we did. Disguise became a form of body armor. In the Spy Museum, we call the mask a 5-second mask. They proved invaluable. You could change your ethnicity, you could change your gender, you could change your nationality, and if you needed to, you could actually become another person. When I was Chief of Disguise, we had already begun using Hollywood stunt double masks. That was a technology that came straight out of LA. We worked with men named John Chambers who had done all the makeup for Planet of the Apes.
He has a definite gift for mimicry.
They could spend 5 hours putting on a mask. They could spend an hour taking it off. And they could shoot it again and again and again until they got the lights just right. Our mask had to be perfect in the car. When you got out of the car, you had to know without a mirror that you were good. The point of all of our masks was speed. You had to imagine that you were going to be in situations that you couldn't even anticipate. An officer somewhere picks this thing up, just puts it on in 5 seconds, and knows that it's right, that he's invisible. If you had to sit and tinker with this thing, if you needed a mirror, it wasn't going to be useful to you at all. The masks were full-face latex masks. It allows you to furrow your brow, it allows you to squint your eyes, it allows you to speak. You talked. The specific mask we're talking about would fit just one person. The first thing we do is we make a face impression. If you've been to a dentist that never had a dental impression, it's the same thing, it's just your face, not your teeth. So they would have added to his face. They could rearrange his face a bit and give him a new face that would fit perfectly over his real face. We never used human hair. We always used a synthetic. The idea of a man washing the hair on his mask and making it look nice when that was all done was never going to happen. The synthetic hair, you couldn't hurt it, basically. You could wear your mask in a rainstorm and your hair would still be okay.
Very human.
The masks, more than once, were taken off in a moment of terror and crushed down and put under arms in armpits. They would fit in armpits if they needed to. That was part of the design. The mask is the culmination of a lot of work that we did at CIA over a period of, I say 10 years, developing that technology. It was a big challenge to come up with something that finally actually animated and worked to really fool a person closer than 3-4 feet from you. But we did.
They learned the art.
We actually brought Hollywood back into our labs at one point to look at what we had done, and they were stunned. They're absolutely stunned.
Congratulations.
The fact that we're allowed to show it tells me the CIA have moved on. I don't know what they're doing. I shouldn't know. I'm dying to know, but I don't know.
Relax. You'll get to see it all later on.
So I'm proud to show people how good we got to that point and let them imagine.
So just imagine how much more advanced it actually is. So this went viral because people looked at this guy's neck while he talked for 5 minutes and said, that looks really weird. So then people said, hey, I'm pretty sure I came across a guy, a conspiracy guy, called an uprising 20 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever it was. I can't even keep track. And he was talking about this stuff, and other people were talking about this stuff. It does look like he's got a mask on, right? Then they saw, oh my goodness, people are picking up on this mask stuff. All right, and this is what they do. Since they control all the media, they put them all out there to talk about it. They put a question mark. Is he wearing a mask? Is he not? They bring you in. And then they start going, yeah, but it proves it's not a mask. Oh, Fox News dismissed it. They said it's a liberal propaganda. So the conservatives go, yeah, he's not wearing a mask, but Biden's wearing a mask, right? Because it's their team versus the other side's team. But the fact of the matter is people are catching on to some of this stuff. And I'd be surprised if they continue to use masks. They might as well just go straight with the AI because 90% of people, 95, can't, let's say more than that, right? 99 can't tell the difference between AI and what's, real, so they could deceive people. And the fact that we're allowing it, like I've said a million times, is unbelievable because they literally can take your face from a Facebook picture and have you committing a murder, show it on the news and say, hey, so-and-so committed a school shooting. And guess what? You'd be like, yeah, right, they didn't put me on the news. Wait a minute, what? Why am I on the news? I wasn't there, I was here. They're like, oh, where were you? They're like, I was at my house. Like, yeah, prove your house? Yeah, I was sitting here all day. We see on the TV, though. That's more realistic. We see on the clip here, right? And you go, well, it could be AI. They go, no, of course it's not AI because they would show 6 fingers or show you with 3 eyes or it would glitch, right? Because you think that the AI, you've been trained to think, oh, well, it messes up a lot. So they can never go to that level of using you in an image to show you shooting up a building or something. Of course they can. So if the people realize that, they go, get rid of AI now. This is completely dangerous and ridiculous. But they go, no, we need AI because we need deepfakes of Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise doing funny things or being in scenes from different movies. It's a dumbed down society we live in. We need it. We need it for this. It's entertaining here and entertaining there, right? And then what ends up happening? Well, what ends up happening is you don't realize that AI is here, that AI is being used in the news. You think it's just being used for these funny clips online where people go, that's an AI deepfake. The news is an AI deepfake. Okay? And if it's not AI deepfake, then it's characters in masks telling you fake things happening in the world, deceiving you into believing in a fake reality, which is what we're living in right now. The lies they beat into your head in school about going to the moon and all this other crap. People actually defend it. Like, do you believe these people think we didn't go to the moon? Well, why do you think we went to the moon? Did you go to the moon yourself and walk on it? No, but I saw it on TV. And then we read about it. Of course it happened. Oh, it happened because they told you year after year, day after day in school that we went to the moon. So now it's almost impossible to deprogram you because you've been programmed, right? You haven't been there, then you don't know if it's real, if you really could go there or not. That's the way that we should all be living. What you see with your own eyes, not through a TV or a screen, is the reality that you should believe in. So anything you hear from the outside, you shouldn't believe. And that's why during COVID, the media was so important, why they were able to pull it off when they did. Because people were so consumed with media. There's so many of you seen the memes out there where, they show the Amish farm and the Amish have no idea that COVID exists because they don't watch TV or the news. So nobody was getting sick around them because nobody really got sick. And the only illnesses occurring were from radiation poisoning or shedding from the people who poisoned themselves and then, just like polio, poisoned other people because they put the active live virus in their own bodies, right? And those people all croak, but we never heard about that on the news, of course, because that would kill and deflate the entire narrative, right? So this is why they do it. They blur your eyes of what's real and what's not. And we live in a fictional reality. Some say simulation, but these are all things they're training you into dismissing, right? But you use your own eyes. Look at the guy's neck. Look at the technology they've told you that they actually have. And think about the dangers of this when it comes to you or me. And you might go, well, I'm not a threat. Maybe you are, Call. Maybe they'd fake you doing something, but they won't do it to me. Well, how do you know? How do you know they won't do it to you? Maybe you'll say something online they don't like. Or maybe you'll just be in the wrong place at the wrong time and see something you shouldn't see. And then they go, well, we're going to have to take this guy out. Let's use his picture and put in a school shooting and we'll throw him in jail for the rest of his life because he saw so-and-so doing something illegal or somewhere he shouldn't have been, or holding the kid's hand in a park on a rainy day where you weren't supposed to see that person above ground with a little kid. Who knows? They can do it to any one of us at any time with this tech. And again, that's the United States of technocracy. So you tell me, do you really believe he's not wearing a mask? Come on. These guys, and you go, well, who cares about this guy? Well, believe it or not, these people who are stuck in the left-right do. And these are characters that they need to constantly give them updates on the fictional war that's going on. Not the real genocide, the fictional narrative war. Oh, they're blocking oil from going here. That's why your oil's so expensive, folks. Oh, right. Trump wasn't supposed to raise oil. Right, this is quietly making you go broke, quietly making you think about going over to Tesla, which they've trained conservatives to do now, even though they say they would never go electric, right? All mind control. That's what the American experiment is, and you're seeing the simulation play out around you. People in masks right in front of your eyes, and they call it Maskgate. Well, they love to do that as well. Pizzagate, right? They want you to just it's gate this, gate that. Then you dismiss it automatically when they tie the word gate to it, which is why a lot of these articles have mask gate attached to it. Well, the reality is that this is a masked man, folks, and they do it day in and day out because the news itself is not real. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.